Well, my friends, I am back. I promised rant number 2, and you know what? In the future, I'm going to try to be more constructive, but for now, I'm just so furious, I'm going to continue with my rants. America, wake up. To the powers that be, the ruling class, whatever you call yourselves, beware. Why? Well, you'll just have to listen to the rest of this rant. To the major media, beware. We no longer believe you. Why? Because your philosophical leftist bias is exposed. You clearly want to convince we the people to have faith in an economy destroyed by our regime. But you no longer can. You can't convince us that employment is up and things are rosy because we know otherwise. You can't convince us to buy rigged stocks because the jig is up. We won't play. We will sell our 401k instead. Hey IRS, take the 10% penalty. Just take it. It's better than losing your shirt with the devaluation of the market. And it's also better than losing with the devaluation of the dollar. The mainstream media would have us think every government line number that shows a less weak economy should be amplified, and every possible report showing decline should be muffled. Well, since the market and currency is based solely on faith, perhaps they think lying about it is their civic duty, to get us back in, for the benefit of all. But the jig is up. We have lost faith. I don't pay dollars for products anymore. I happily give up paper for real tangible things my family needs. And when I have more paper than I think I need for that time period, I exchange silly paper for gold and silver. To do otherwise is just completely insane. I firmly believe that the ruling class is trying to succeed in creating some sort of economic total collapse crisis, possibly for the purpose of taking over our free republic and turning it into some socialist experiment, a situation which ultimately leads to totalitarianism, perhaps even on a global scale. You see, really, really rich people with an agenda would walk through the door of freedom and prosperity for themselves, and for those behind them, slam that door shut and lock it behind gated communities and private schools, country clubs, and lovely institutions, and, by the way, outstanding, excellent health care. But for the masses being locked behind that door, they want to play God and rule using prosperity given to them by our founders and forefathers, and play games with our lives, economy, healthcare, jobs, and even prosecute global wars. Now, our leaders are plowing our country off of a cliff because their philosophy is inherently against people prospering more than they think they should prosper. Liberalism fails to understand the nature of man. Freedom is the nature of man. It is our freedom that causes us to prosper more than anywhere else in the world, because when we are free, we excel. This is natural, even scientific. They mock us conservatives for not berating a faithful belief that we were created by our Creator, the idea of biblical creation, that is, but they want to force us to frame every miracle that we perceive under the theory of evolution or chaos or randomness. But with that rejection, they must also reject the idea that excellence evolves to a higher state of excellence in a free market and in a free society, because ideas, products, imagination, and ability evolve through countless iterations of trial and error in a free world where competition determines success or failure. See that little paradox, you liberal people? Trial and error with competition as your judge works when you want to deny God and promote other theories, but it couldn't possibly work for economics, where such things are mathematically provable and visible. Having a little problem reconciling that contradiction, you liberal commies? Oratory is not as easy as politicians make it look, and conveying ideas to people is kind of new to me, so please forgive me, or maybe view the video again to find the rest of the innuendo. Now, one of the unfortunate outcomes in evolution is that when your adaptations to the environment stink, you die off. Dangerous stuff here, folks. The liberal left philosophy that bleeds its heart and rends its cloth when another group fails to excel is inherently contradictory to freedom. When people blow it, when they fail to change, and they cannot be given the stuffs of people who excel and work hard, because then those who fail are incented to fail, and those who excel are incented to idle. It's simple economics 101. You subsidize what you want to see more of, and you tax the activity you want to see less of. Now, Churchill said socialism was a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Stop teaching history and Churchill's accomplishments? Maybe like defeating the Nazis? Now let's go back to my statement earlier. Our leaders are plowing us off of a cliff, the whole country. Why? Because they simply think that it is morally wrong for one country to do better or be better than any other. It's kind of like cultural equivalency. Well, I'm sorry, liberals. Some cultures stink. It's a simple fact that our way is better than their way. We have to accept that, and you know what? They have to accept that. They act like a jealous child who first attempts to bully that kid that built the cool sandcastle on the beach, and then when told no, stomps on the sandcastle and is allowed to walk away without a spanking. It's the most juvenile concept ever. And these liberals and leftists have done unbelievable damage. In every area they operate, the standards are lower. Education? What a joke! Before they teach kids 2 plus 2, they make sure to inject 2 gay dads, a mule, and a sheep into the curriculum. Numbers don't lie, friends. Excellence in education is nearly finished. Carlin jokingly said, George Carlin, the funny guy, he jokingly said of a sports competition in school that little Johnny could never hear those character-building words, "You lost, Johnny. You're just going to have to do better next time." Nope, not in our society. In our society, he hears, "You were the last winner." Great. Now, our kids, they are going to blame us for this. You think they're not keeping score at ball games even though the parents are told not to? You got to be kidding me. What a great way to eliminate any trace of excellence in competition. Convince people not to keep score. Well, we all play a game called life, and in America, unfortunately, it's scored in dollars. What if we didn't keep score? Eh, comrade? Eh? Don't tread on me. Don't tread on us. The jig is up.